Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Think About It, my podcast channel, powered by Sonara. As you all know, I am Amir, and I have a special guest today with me, Aaron Wong. Uh, I met Aaron Wong from this conference I went to previously in September, the Johor Singapore Zone 3, a Special Economic Zone Conference, and I met him in JB. So Aaron is an investment advisory lawyer and Asia Pacific business expansion consultant. So I brought him in to so that we can all gain some more insight into the AI and business landscape and um, perspective in ASEAN and in JB, the situation going on in JB. So, Aaron, hi, how are you doing
Yeah,
today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me on your podcast today, Amir.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I gave a brief introduction. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience more in depth so that they know what's going on?
Okay, basically, I think it's quite fortuitous that we met in JB as we had spoken at length. You know some a bit of my background, and that's why there's some relevance to us having this podcast to spread knowledge
Mm,
among your listeners. So first and foremost, I have been based in Singapore for many years. I went to secondary school there and then JC and did my law school in UK, Europe. And then I also worked in Japan for 8 years. Following that, a stint in Thailand as well, Bangkok, for investment banking, and also a stint in family office. But more relevance to your listeners would be some of my experience working with tech and AI, especially in blockchain-based fundraising like the ICO, IEO, and STO era about 8 years ago, which is when I stepped into this arena. So basically, I'm a lawyer by profession, as Amir you have introduced. I am triple qualified, UK, Malaysia, and Singapore, with a top tier law firm, Big Four law firm in Singapore, where I was part of the Japan desk as well, due to my multilingualistic abilities. And that's why I'm a Asia expansion, business expansion specialist. How do I marry tech and traditional business, helping to um, offer value-added services to industries seeking to expand in Asia. And obviously, I also work with family offices before as well in Hong Kong, where I help spearhead their push and drive from the Greater China into Australia, Asia Pacific like Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, etc. So
impressive,
right,
impressive.
yeah, thank you. So I speak about 8 languages, six
Damn.
six fluently. Uh, so what I really hope to do is value add to help businesses grow global. As
Mm,
we know, the world is a huge melting pot, cosmopolitan business arena where people get a lot more by working together rather than against each other. Yeah. So right now I'm based in JB, as Amir has pointed out. I moved from Singapore 2 years ago. Rather, I moved back from Bangkok. I moved away from Singapore 4 years ago. I stayed in Bangkok for an investment bank, looking at some startups there who are doing generative AI industries, how they wish to approach expanding into Southeast Asia via any of the component members, whether it be Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, because we are all quite united as Prime Minister Anwar wants to
mm.
portray with the recent ASEAN summit recently.
Absolutely impressive. I've heard of triple
Yes.
board certified surgeons, but I
Yeah.
never heard of triple qualified lawyers. This is the first time.
Oh, thank
Amazing.
you. Yes.
All right, let's move into the second segment, which is about AI's growing role in Asian business. So
Mm,
the reason why I've brought in Aaron as a guest today is because, as I mentioned, I met him during the JB Singapore Special Economic Zone conference,
mm,
and I attended this talk about JB's Smart City initiative. And I heard what Aaron had to say during the conference to the speaker as well. It was a pretty interesting discussion, and his opinions were well. I learned a lot from his his conversation with the panelists and the speaker himself. So I wanted to bring him in here because I think we all can learn a little bit more from him as well. He has
mm,
years of experience, as he's already mentioned. He's traveled to so many places in the world, and I hope to have a career like his too, so something similar, at
yeah.
least. All right. So AI's growing role in Asia, in Asian business. So
Mm.
um, what's your perspective of how businesses can integrate AI responsibly right now? I think you have a pretty good perspective on the businesses in Asia.
Okay, I think this is a very opportune timing for this discourse, Amir, because as I was sharing with you earlier, that I was actually working on Saturday and Sunday because there was a Johor Business Expo in conjunction with the ASEAN Summit held in Kuala Lumpur.
Mm,
Incidentally, I met an old friend. He runs a something very interesting, marrying exactly AI into tech, where he has investments from Middle East, Saudi Arabia.
mm,
So what he has is something quite relevant to the Muslim community. He has made a smartwatch with Chinese technology, reminding all um, uh, Muslim compatriots about the times of prayer, the prayer time. There will
mm.
be an alarm, and then this is actually wound in an anti-counterclockwise manner in the direction of the Qiblat, which many
Oh,
Muslims is quite privy about. And so he was just sharing with me how great it was. We haven't caught up for about 5-6 years since before COVID, and I bumped into him at this expo. He was with Datin Seri, who is his partner, business partner, to launch the smart watch, which they have manufactured with top-end Huawei partnership
mm,
with the top-end Chinese manufacturing OEM capabilities and invested by the Saudi government itself. So we were just saying how much of a dynamic evolution that AI has undergone, how you can marry that to something as diverse as a smartwatch to cater to the different cultural and religious sensitivities we have in the region. So I think this is a very good initiative where you have certain smartwatches that adapts to one's particular religion and lifestyle. For example, the cycles of the lunar moon. In Chinese, we have our Chinese lunar calendar.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Muslim compatriots also have their own cycle about the Muslim prayer times
Oh,
throughout the day, where they will send you different alerts, and whether the you will see the moon on when the to indicate the fasting of the month, fasting month commences, because that
mm.
is
Yeah, yeah.
so.
I'm Muslim too, so it's familiar to me.
Yes,
Interesting. I should get one of those. Right now, when we have our fasting month, I just refer to the app on the phone. But
sure.
then that app is also flooded with a lot of ads.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So why I mentioned this is actually a prelude to my discourse more about how AI has helped. I met another friend. He's a pretty much genius level. He's a Portuguese guy, formerly from Google DeepSeek. He
Mm,
started a generative AI company in Japan. Why I mentioned things to do with cycles of the moon and the weather is it is universal in application to all of us in the world. You can't say whether you're in Africa, in Singapore, US, Europe. You are we are all affected by cycles of the weather system, and so what he's done is another application is he interestingly he's based in Japan as a Portuguese. He lives in Japan with a startup with about close to 100 persons already, broke even in 6 months, and he came to Bangkok. I met him through business delegation. So he's telling me he's trying to launch this to use weather predictability and using generative AI to predict how the weather cycles impact a crop, growing agriculture crops, and how that affects the consumer moods. For instance, whether the moods you can predict whether it's going to rain 4 days later. If you have a big event or something, you're best to take preparations or even postpone the event. I think that's very useful. Or even
it
in
is pretty
terms of
useful.
crop cycles, how to plan your fertilization, your irrigation. appropriately when you know there's a huge dry spell coming, or rather the other way around, you have huge amounts of floods
Mm.
happening around the world right now. So I think there's a lot of applications that people can harness with the dynamic progression of AI into everyday lives. Yeah, I can go on and on about this a little bit more, maybe a little bit more to tie up how this affects Johor, Singapore, in terms of industrial applications, how AI translates into manual labor in terms of robotics, kinetic movement in manufacturing process, even a house robot for as little as a few $100
Mm.
to do everyday chores that everybody doesn't like, washing, cleaning, and even shopping for you, or
Wow.
walking the dog, or
Some
even
nice
walking.
examples of
Yes,
these are some
yes,
nice examples of
yes,
emerging
yes.
AI
So,
applications.
so this has taken root in Johor. I know personally two robotics company in Johor set up already. They're manufacturing to support or even customizing robotic arms and manufacturing processes for the factories that are moving to Johor. So these can be Six Sigma based, or even or the black belt as propounded by GE on the manufacturing processes. They can be done in conjunction together with these robotics companies who are manufacturing right here in JB itself.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Aaron has just given us some amazing examples of emerging AI applications in finance, logistics, and tech. So that's quite interesting. I didn't know about this watch. I should go look into it. It will be quite useful for me
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
Um, okay, cool. Um, I want to ask you a little bit about balancing innovation with regulation in JB, because that's also something you spoke about during the Smart City Initiative conversation we had
Yes.
back there, right? About
Mm.
innovation and regulation
Mm.
balance. What's your take on that?
That's a very good spot on question, because recently I've been invited by IIB, which
Mm,
is Iskandar Investment Berhad, as on an expert panel for fireside chat to an audience of 200-300 people, business owners, investors coming to Johor looking to invest in this special economic zone recently. So one of the key takeaways that I shared during that fireside discussion was how regulatory can play a more proactive role to anticipate needs and wants rather than be reactive. So it's about understanding what are the potential challenges, pitfalls, and hurdles that potential investors and even startups are facing coming to Johor, because as we know, Malaysia is relatively bigger than Singapore. So
yep, yep, yep.
in terms of systems and different state governments as well, there are differing policies, differing policies from state to state. But I'm glad to say that Johor is quite progressive on this. They've set up Invest Johor Facilitation Center in partnership with the federal government to take care of all one-stop shop, like something of 20 over federal agencies all under one roof, to help look at everything with licensing, from labor to environment safety to security to um, and manufacturing processes certifications. Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah. So in terms of a private law side, I'm also regularly invited to speak by the Chinese government on opportunities under the One Belt One Road policy for Chinese companies to take advantage of in Southeast Asia. So recently, I just came back from Shandong province, invited by the prefectural government. So what I wanted to share is there are a lot of foreign investors planning to come into Singapore, JB, and looking at Singapore as the other market that they also like to access, but
Mm,
for the three important shortages of labor, energy, and land. So these are considerations that many foreign investors have. They would like ideally to partner with Singapore as well on developing the JSSEZ. So But Malaysia is viewed as the uh, how do you say it, a less riskier country to start their business initiation process into Asia Pacific because of cost and, as I shared, energy, cheaper energy, labor
Definitely.
as well. So to all our listeners out there, come in quickly, seize the carpe diem, seize the moment, because it seems that Malaysia is feeling a sense of euphoria, as I was saying with the recent Trump visit as well, ASEAN summits, and Malaysia being the chair of ASEAN. There's been a lot of optimism, and with JSSEZ happening very smoothly, with RTS coming up at the end of next year
Mm,
as well. So I think this is an opportune time. And looking at law, I moved from Singapore and Thailand and Japan back to JB. It was originally my hometown, but since secondary school in Victoria, I've actually never spent much time in Malaysia or Johor as a whole. But I saw the upcoming boom uh, prospects getting quite brighter by the day, and I moved back in January last year. And as Amir may want to point out, we did visit Network State.
yes,
After
yes.
the,
I'll be interviewing James quite soon, actually.
yes, so Jet Network State, to for the uninitiated, is actually a very interesting concept where a bunch of Web3 and blockchain entrepreneurs and successful tycoons, in fact, they have relocated about 300 persons to stay in Forest City as an experimental city state where they would like to bring towards together a group of like-minded developers and entrepreneurs to kind of bring things up to the next level in
Mm,
terms of developing Web3 crypto crypto-based projects as well.
mm.
So
Thanks for mentioning Network Stake,
yeah,
actually. I'm in contact with him. I'll be doing an episode with him soon as well.
sure, interesting. Yes.
All right, that's an amazing takeaway on the understanding Asia's unique business ecosystem for AI growth. Because I have a group of friends who will be interested in this kind of stuff, and I want myself, I want to understand how the AI and the business works in Asia, because maybe start maybe making a startup in Malaysia might be a good idea. Um, don't know, depending on the idea. Okay, next part, I want to talk about the special economic zone and the regional growth. So, um, this is actually a little bit inspired by your previous LinkedIn post that I read. I'll be including the link to the post in the
Mm,
description so everyone can check it out as well.
thanks.
How cross-border collaboration can attract startups and investments so well? Because I didn't know I knew next to nothing about the special economic zone until I went to that conference on that day. And then I
Mm.
was like, whoa, this is huge. Right? So um can you open our eyes a little bit more to how it's actually attracting so many startups and investments?
I think a lot of different sectors and fields they actually play an integral part as a cohesive whole. Like you were mentioning, how regulatory gives people confidence to
Mm,
invest. So recently, I've participated by an invitation from the Prime Minister's Department to the ASEAN Law Summit, where I also met the Singapore Minister of Law, Minister Edwin Heng, as well at the summit, and we shared some discourse about the progress of developments in the JSSEZ as a whole. What I wanted to say is regional wise, it is becoming very integrated
mm,
as a whole with this region, with Singapore playing a large part, both as an investor and partner, ecosystem partner to how what Johor is doing it. Because obviously, JSSEZ by definition can't go it alone.
yes, definitely.
Yes,
It needs
and and,
quite a bit more backup.
and no man is an island, as the adage goes. So what so in essence, we can take advantage of many multilateral and cross-lateral ASEAN organizations, and even supporting even country-specific supporting organizations like, for example, EDB, Enterprise Singapore. They all have their matching sister organizations in other ASEAN countries, like what Khazanah is to Malaysia and to IIB, where it is the major shareholder
What's
of
Khazanah?
Iskandar Investment. Khazanah is the sovereign wealth fund of
Oh,
Malaysia,
right, right, right. Yeah, they
and
mentioned.
that is the 60% shareholder of Iskandar Investment Berhad.
Mm,
And with together IRDA, Iskandar Regional Development Authority, which is the federal agency in charge of developing the area under JSSEZ as well. So we have a lot of organizations that organize a lot of obviously forums where I met Amir, and they frequently also invite me to speak. And there are a lot of sharing about bringing together a lot of expertise from across the region, all right here to JSSEZ, to showcase the ecosystem, the infrastructure support, and about the overall talents that are coming together to help develop and make this a success, including importing, obviously, people from our closest neighbor in Singapore
yes,
to come
definitely.
across. So we've seen a lot of developments in this area where obviously land, buildings, they are all just shells for the talents, the software to be plugged in. I mean, like what we see with Network State, these people could actually be anywhere in the world.
Mm,
They chose to come to Johor, which, like I said, about 300 very talented people, diverse backgrounds from US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, etc.
amazing,
Yeah,
cool. Okay, we've spoken quite a bit about Johor Bahru, and thanks for mentioning all those
yeah.
organizational names because some even I haven't heard of actually.
Mm.
Um, Now I want to talk about how the JBSG Special Economic Zone, how it affects the regional business in ASEAN, because we are made up of quite a few countries here like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and many others, right? So
Mm.
what are your thoughts on how this Special Economic Zone and the booming investment and business, how it impacts the regional business in ASEAN as a whole?
Looking at the current regional and global, well, I hesitate to use the word turmoil, but that is basically what has been unleashed when Trump announced his tariffs, as we are aware of, unless you live in a cave. So basically, so we can see that with the recent Malaysia hosted the ASEAN summit
Yes.
and plus related summits. It's very interesting why they use related, because Canadian Prime Minister came, Brazil Prime Minister came as
Yeah.
well. Then you have Japanese Prime Minister came as well. Obviously, we have Trump as well.
We have
So,
India
so
coming in as well.
India was virtual,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sadly.
I heard, I
Yeah,
heard, I heard.
sadly. So like I said, it is becoming very, very much centralized on ASEAN as a
Mm,
whole, not Kuala Lumpur, but ASEAN. So ASEAN is beginning to take center stage in world affairs, both economically and politically,
mm,
as a region, as a united region, akin to what the European Union is.
mm.
Yeah, it's living up to the dreams of a centralized market.
That's honestly pretty amazing.
Yes, so I think it is time that Asia and ASEAN flies right now.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, how JSSEZ plays a central part, again, it's a very good question, because it reminds me of my past where I was parked under a Temasek vehicle under Samcorp Industries, where I were helped to be the legal lead for industrial parks. We have heard of Wuxi Singapore Industrial Park in China. It's one of the foremost and earliest successful case study in China,
Interesting.
plus the Vietnam Singapore Industrial Park. These are all parked under Samcorp Industries, where I was the group legal counsel in my
Cool.
early days of my career. So
Cool.
to me, what JSSEZ has done now is really a version 4.0, 5.0 of what Singapore has done in those days. And we don't see any, I don't think there should be any fear of what people, the negative word connotation is people use is cannibalization
Mm.
of one country. If I have this, then other countries will lose out. So maybe that is one way of reading Amir's question. How does JSSZ integrate into other countries' uh, play into industrialization? Because a lot of countries have their own industrial parks and they all want. So I think this is an add-on. This is a power-up pack, if I may use the term. Gamers may be aware of that. So this is a power-up where it adds on to the equation, where it adds on, especially all along the last 20 years. I've heard this so many times. If I can get $1 for each time I heard that, I'll be super rich, because everyone says Johor is what uh, Shenzhen is to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is the Singapore, is the hinterland.
Okay, I
So,
get the reference.
so they're saying Malaysia is the hinterland to Singapore, just like Hong Kong and Shenzhen, the symbiotic relationship lies. And what more, historians would know, Malaysia and Singapore used to be one, united. But unfortunately or fortunately, there's a separation now, and each one can play up to their own strengths. And in that regards, as I highlighted earlier about the natural, geographical, and his advantages that both countries have, Singapore being a world famous entrepot trading city with what Malaysia's offer in terms of natural resources, land, labor, and energy as well. So that's why it's a no-brainer. That's why there are a lot of data centers are set up here. Although I have to say, hopefully don't step on anyone's toes to say Johor is slowing down in terms of application approval rates for data
It's actually
centers.
pretty amazing, guys. Because I was with Aaron during the conference on that day, right? And we were invited to this office where the Malaysia what was it called? MDEC,
And
Malaysia
that, yes, Malaysia digital economy. Yeah,
Economic
so that is
Corporation.
the equivalent to Singapore, maybe will be more familiar, IDA.
Uh,
So they are responsible for infocoms and tech development.
So,
Yeah,
MDEC, the Malaysia Digital Economic Corporation, right? They gave us a little presentation on the investments and stuff, right? On how it went. And one very interesting fact was that there are about 44 to 46 data centers that they've built in in JB. I think it's in
yeah.
JB.
Approved. They actually approved. Not all has been
Built
online yet.
already. Approve, approve.
Not all.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that's why I said they are slowing down on this. Obviously, we know about the ecological,
Yeah,
environmental
because
impact.
data centers take up so much
It's,
power.
yeah. So a lot of countries, obviously, as they say, one country's loss is another's gain. Maybe countries like Singapore, and I heard even Vietnam, they're cutting down. They
Hmm.
are not encouraging building of data centers because their energy could be used for other more government priority projects. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you for explaining this so clearly to me and the
Yeah.
audience, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's very clear explanation. So, listener takeaway for everyone is that the special economic zone is acts as a blueprint for tech-driven business ecosystems in Southeast Asia. As Aaron mentioned, so many countries are working together, and the ASEAN has also attracted so many of the leaders to come over to it as well.